Vanakkam, Vandanam, Namaskar, Suswagatam, Kia ora, and a very warm welcome to Season with Fondness. The topic for today is This Too Shall Pass. Let's directly dive into the story now. Once upon a time, there was a king who said this to the members of his kingdom. I have brought one of the most beautiful diamonds in the world, and I want to hide a message in the ring which I intend to pass on to my successors after my rule. The message should serve me and others in the time of desperation and struggle. It must be a short sentence that can be stashed under the ring's diamond. All of those who listened were very clever and quick thinkers. They all could write passages and essays, but not a short sentence that is not longer than 2 or 3 words that would assist someone in the times of despair. They all thought, but could not come up with what was needed. The king was a bit disappointed, and he went into his chambers, where his old servant met him. As the king's mother passed away at a very young age, he was raised majorly by his faithful servant. The king had tremendous respect for the servant, and so he presented his current problem to him. The old man said, I am not wise, nor scholarly, nor well educated like the others, sir. But I do know of a message. During my life in the palace, I have met all sorts of people, and once I met a wizard who was invited by your father. To thank me, he gave me this message. The old servant wrote something on a piece of paper and handed it to the king. But don't read it, he said. Keep it hidden in the ring and open it only when you have no other option. Soon after, the kingdom was invaded, and the king started to lose battles. He fled on his horse, followed by his enemies. He was alone, and his enemies were many. With no other choice, a cliff lay ahead of him, and there was no way of return. He remembered the message inside the ring. He opened it and took out the piece of paper and read the short message. This too shall pass. As soon as he read the message, he felt a great sense of silence and empowerment enveloping him. His enemies got lost in the woods, and their horses were nowhere to be heard. The king was very thankful to this old servant and the wizard. These words were incredible. He put the piece of paper back under the diamond in the ring and embarked on his journey back to his kingdom. The day he got back to his kingdom, all were feeling victorious. He was greeted with a big feast, and his happiness was spellbound. The old servant stood next to him and said, This moment too is right for another look at the hidden message, my king. The king was amused, and he replied, Now that I am victorious, people are celebrating. I am not desperate or in a no-option situation. Why would I even look at the message? The servant said, Listen to me, sir. This message is relevant both in times of despair and in good times as well. The king opened the message again and read, This too shall pass. The king again felt great internal silence that he had felt before. Though he was celebrating, his pride and ego disappeared and diminished. The king understood the true meaning of the message and was enlightened. So, the moral of the story here is just as everything in our external environment is constantly changing, the same is the case with everything in our internal environment. All our thoughts and feelings are just like clouds in the sky, constantly arising and passing. The Buddhists call this phenomenon anicca, which means that everything is temporary or impermanent. Keeping this wisdom in our mind can heal and bring us comfort in challenging times, as well as cherish and savor the beautiful yet transitory gift that life is. Thank you.